The first day of the shoot, we were shooting for a song called Bole Chudi. I'm on the walkie, Karan is saying, tell Bebo left, just come left. And I was like, how is this happening over there? In the evening that day, Yash Johar called me. Do you remember how much you said was the art budget? So he removes that same piece of paper and unfolds it. And he said the art budget was 3 crores for the entire film. You have spent 3 crores 60 lakhs on one set. Tore the paper. He said, now go and make this film. The way the film was sold is a different story.
Hi Nikhil, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And my first memory, I was just telling the team here that my first memory of Nikkhil Advani is this brat who on camera breaks up with his girlfriend in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. What happened there? How did you come to give that little shot there?
Bad casting by the assistant director. You asked Tarun Mansakan. He got a earful from me because we had badly cast the person who was supposed to do the Neelam show dialogue, and I said I'll do it. We are losing the location, and I had just got married, and Suparna is my wife, who I call and say, Suparna, मुझे phone मत करना. मुझे कोई और मिल गया. And the कोई और मिल गई is Farah Khan, because every time I used to go home after a long schedule, or I used to keep talking about Farah, and Suparna actually said, are you having an affair with Farah? And I said, I think you need to meet Farah to know that I would not be having an affair with her. I mean, Farah's very sweet and all that, and she's lovely. But, and I told Farah about it, and she said, I'll come in the same shot with you and all that. So it was an inside joke between us, and I actually got, Karan writes everything, I mean, he knows everything is in his head. So I think he tweaked the dialogue for it to rhyme, Suparna mujhe phone mat karna, mujhe koi aur, Suparna and Karna and that kind of stuff. And yeah, then it's become folklore, I mean, a lot of films end up having memes, and now in present day 2023, 24, and ever since social media has become something, so the meme of this silly Neelam show, whatever.
You get
so
called
my
out?
Twitter bio is at least I'll be known for my cameo in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. That's the only thing that people recognize me on the street. Neelam show, Neelam show.
No, but you assisted on Kuch Kuch, you assisted on Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham, and then of course Kal Ho Naa Ho was, I mean, it's one of my favorites, especially the title song. So you've been part of the process of creating films for so long, and that is why I was very curious about the journey to Emmay, from creator to setting up or co-founding a company. How did that come about? Why did that come about? Just some sense of that.
The thing is that when you work in companies like Dharma Productions and Yash Raj Films and all, right, they cocoon you from the rest of the world. Right? You don't have to bother about the Friday.
Okay.
The Friday is such a omnipotent force, such a ominous, invisible kind of. I mean, it's like on top of your head, right? On top of filmmakers and storytellers' heads, like, what's going to happen on Friday? What's going to happen on Friday? What's going to happen? What happens when you work in companies like Dharma and Yash Raj and Excel? I would imagine, I've worked in Dharma and Yash Raj. You're protected by the Friday. They protect you. Right?
Okay.
And that, I think, is liberating for a filmmaker. Right? You know that on Monday you still have a job. You can still come. And I think that's what great studios are all about.
All about,
right?
yeah.
LA, you go to the LA studios and all. That's what it's about. Don't worry about the Friday. We'll take care of the Friday. You worry about telling the story. So I think that the 7-8 years I worked in Dharma and the 2 years I worked in Yash Raj, I just wanted to always have that and be able to give that to the people who are working with me. Post leaving after Kal Ho Naa Ho, when I left Dharma Productions, I went through a phase of being so insecure and so. I mean, nobody was giving me work. I didn't have work. I had to go. I mean, luckily for me, Sunil Manchanda offered me advertising, ad films at that time, and which became a trend later on, that Bollywood actors became the so-called models. Models became redundant, and the Bollywood actors became model. And who better than a Bollywood director to be able to understand that when a Bollywood actor says, "मैं आपको एक दिन दे दूँगा," he's actually giving only 4 hours. And to be able to do so much work within those 4 hours and not be intimidated by the fact that they're coming for 4 hours and finish off all the work. So actually that helped me survive and stay afloat. But And then the subsequent mistakes of I doing a Salamesh, which was completely out of arrogance, that I'm not given credit for the first film that I've made, which is a love story. I'm going to do 6 love stories. I'll show you that I can do 6 love stories. And Salamesh doesn't work. So the minute Rohan Sippy, was a very dear friend of mine, says, do Chandni Chota China, I jumped into Chandni Chota China. I had not the first idea of action or
Warner
Kung Fu,
Brothers, I think.
right?
Was it Warner?
Shut down Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I know, because
Literally, right?
I spoke to Blaze after that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a very funny story about Blaze. I mean, it's a the Blaze was before Chandni Chota China released. Blaze was test driving a Mercedes S Class. He was test driving a Mercedes S Class, and Chandni Chota China released, and he bought a Honda City. So
how tragic.
yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to say that it was just silly mistakes, them silly decisions that but I then luckily for me, I mean, Akshay Kumar, right? I mean, Akshay Kumar calls me up on the day that Chandni Chota China bombs, and we go to his house, and I'm sitting on this thing, I'm distraught, I don't know what to do, career is over, and he says, when are you starting the next one? Because we should start the next one. And he had so much faith in me as a filmmaker, and I think that's where I the relationships I made in those years, I wanted to then basically use them correctly. And I made Patiala House, again Patiala House. I think by the time we released Patiala House, Akshay had 4 films that had not worked. Nobody really wanted to see, a very big film he had made with Farah, Peace Mar Khan.
Yeah.
In December.
Yeah, that's...
We released Patiala House in February of the next year. And, Akshay was... Akshay also goes through ups and downs and whatever. He has some very big, beautiful films that he does, and then he just goes through a spate of stuff. So he keeps doing that, and nobody wanted to watch Patiala. Patiala House actually today, I'm happy to say, is Akshay's favorite film. It's one of my favorite films. It didn't do well, but it's such a beautiful film, and he's so good in that film. It allowed me to go to him for Airlift.
But by Airlift, Emmay had happened. I mean, how?
Yeah, we happened. Emmay started in 2000. I think in 2011, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
it's about now we are 30. We're in the 13th year of. We're in the 13th year, and it happened because my sister Monisha Advani and my very good school friend Madhu Bhojwani, they were entrepreneurs in their own right. They had started an HR company which had become one of the biggest HR companies in the country. And at the age of 35, 36, my sister had basically sold her company or merged into the world's biggest HR company. And she was the first MD of Randstad in India.
Oh.
And then she basically said, okay, I'm taking a sabbatical. I don't have to work for the rest of my life. And I said, no, you need to work because I want to start a production company. And I want to do it right. And I think that I want to do this because the kind of stuff I want to make, I don't think most people will allow me to do that outside, and it's going to be a challenge for me to do that outside. So I want to I want to make a D-Day, and I want to make an Airlift, and I want to do these kind of stuff. So not really. I mean, I think I'm jumping. I don't want to. Didn't D-Day and Airlift and all came later. We still wanted to make. I said that I want to try and copy, the whole model of Excel and what they do and how they do it. So they jumped. They said, and I promised them. I said we'll shoot in outdoor locations. We've never shot. In 13 years, we've never done
because
the
reality hit you
and the Kal Ho Naa Ho. And no, it's just that I was writing something called like a Viredi Wedding, which is like a 4 more shots please kind of film. Sex in the City was very big. And I said I can do a 4 sisters kind of film. And then my driver told me, यार उसामा बिन लादेन को पकड़ा वो लोग ने.
That's how D-Day was born then.
तो I said हाँ तो क्या हुआ. तो ऐसे हम लोग क्यों नहीं जाके दाऊद इब्राहिम को ला सकते हैं. पागल हो गया क्या, ऐसा नहीं होता. India doesn't do these things. India has the reputation, and India has the advantage of Mahatma Gandhi. We are a non-violent country, or at least we project ourselves to a non-violent country. And so when I started when I came to the office, and my young ADs were all on Facebook or whatever was at that time, 2011, and they were saying Dawood Ibrahim, Osama bin has been caught, Osama bin is caught. And I thought, yeah, they are talking about Osama, my driver's talking about Osama. Everybody's, there's a story here, about, rendition and covert operation and this and that. So I said, let's So I called Suresh.
That was the first film which Emmay.
That's the first film we
backed on?
made. D-Day was the first film we made.
What is the first thing, and especially because I want to get filmmakers to talk about also the protection from the Friday that you had. What's the first thing that hit you when MA happened? The first couple of years,
Nothing
or
happened.
is it that your partners protected you from
No, nothing happened. So we had a very small office in Almeida Park, which was my old, which is from where I was operating as a director. And we started off over there. Nothing really happened, and we were struggling to. We were struggling to get the first thing off the ground. So yeah, we were listening to stuff. We signed couple of signed couple of writers. Anuja Chauhan was writing a film for us called Gappi Mein Layer Ne Shayar Hu. Beautiful name, but never got made. Ritesh Shah, who subsequently went and wrote D-Day for me, he was writing some stuff. Other people were writing stuff. We heard a lot of stuff. We heard in last December we just released a film called Dry Day, which was at that time called Mat Chuke Pehlwan, which Saurabh Shukla was my oldest friend in the industry. He narrated it to me in 2011. We made it in 2020. So yeah, so nothing really.
But वो creator का hat उतार के producer का hat पहना तो
मैं कभी
कुछ बदली नहीं हुआ. आपका perspective scripts के बारे में change हुआ. कुछ
Vanita,
बदली होता है क्या?
I have never ever removed the producer hat. Even in Dharma Productions and Yash Raj films, where I was the associate director to Karan Johar and Aditya Chopra, Yash Chopra and Yash Johar were the two people that I actually interacted the most with.
Okay.
Right? Because Dharma was not the Dharma that we know today. Right? Dharma was coming out of a series of films that were had not done well, or rather Gubra had done well. But after that, Duplicate had taken 3 years to make. Yashji was not in the. I mean, it was not. Karan was about to become a director. In the case of the YRF. Adi had actually shifted. It was a difficult time at YRF, not from a point of view of Yashraj not being Yashraj. It was just that even the old guard was understanding that these young kids were coming over and taking over stuff, right? And young kids were coming with their computers and 386 computer and this computer, and no, we have to do workshops and we have to do हम लोग यहाँ पे ये करेंगे. No, we will not go into shoot until we have this bound script. Schedule, movie magic, screenwriter, budgeting, scheduling, and so it was not a very easy transition from the Yash Chopra of YRF to the Aditya Chopra of YRF, right?
Yeah.
And here was me standing and saying, yeah, here's this guy who has come and he's shaking things up, right? So I therefore had to be the conduit, or rather the wall between Adi and his dad and Karan and his dad with regards to.
That's interesting.
With regards to not so much wall, but like a translator, right?
The bridge between the two worlds.
Correct, right? So and there were times when Adi and Karan were playing only director. They were not playing son to the producer. They were playing only director. And they allowed. And for that, at that time, I had to be that. So that the producer hat has always remained on my.
So you were always sensitized. कि पता था कि these things are possible. These things. When in MA, did that training help?
I'll give you a story. Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham. We heard the narration. Yash Johar heard the narration on a Saturday, I remember, and he called me. And there was another. There was a young production controller at that time called Manoj Mitra, and he called us to the office on Sunday, and this was the office in Khar. And he said, "What do you think is the budget of the film?" He had just heard the film, and we had all heard the film. I had heard it several times before, but everybody had heard it finally. And so, what do you think is the budget of the film? And we made a budget on a piece of paper.
I know what the film was spent on the film, but yeah, you tell me.
You would not know. But we made a budget on a piece of paper. We took the headings, and it came to 24.5 crores. Okay, and the art budget was 3 crores for the entire film. And he took the paper. Yash Johar took the paper. He folded the paper like that and put it in his pocket. And he said, "Okay, go and make the film. Start making the film." 24 crore 2001 में 2001 में बहुत बड़ा number था. In any case, we were like, will he? But I said 24.5 crores is the budget of the film.
Huge, huh?
And on the first day of the shoot, we were shooting for a song called Bole Chudiya. And there were some 200 dancers, and there were some 500, 300 juniors, and there was we had done pre-lighting for 3 days, and there was all of them. Because at one point in Bole Chudiya, everybody comes. They all, Ritik is thinking about dreaming, and then the entire cast comes. And we had taken Filmistan Studios, which is actually has 10 floors, right? It has 10 floors, and we had taken all the 10 floors. So Filmistan Studios had become Dharma Studios. So on floor number 3 was Yash Raichand house, and where we were shooting Bole Chudiya. Floor number, and we had one floor, one studio I made into Yash Johar's office, one studio I made into HOD's office, one studio I made into just senior eating room, one studio I made into. I've taken the whole
thing.
Everything I'd taken. Actors would get ready in the makeup rooms. In the makeup rooms, we had painted the makeup rooms, we had redone the bathrooms, we had redone the plumbing, we had put MF Hussain prints, we had put fridge, TV, cable, everything. There used to be a letter pad from the desk of Jaya Bachchan on this thing of Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham. One note from Karan every morning from what he felt that day. What is Karan thinking and what he feels about it. Everything would come. Karan fainted.
I know, first day of the shoot,
right?
Yeah, I've heard that.
And we are shooting over there. I'm on the walkie. Karan is saying, tell Bebo left, just come left. And I was like, what was happening over there? In the evening that day, Yash Johar called me to the outside. He would never come inside and say. He would always sit outside. He loved to sit amongst his, people, his production guys and guys. He would sit over there. He called me. He said, "Do you remember how much you said was the art budget?" यार जी अब टू मच स्ट्रेस है, अंदर बहुत स्ट्रेस है, काजल का बनारसी कुछ ये गिर रहा है वगैरह वगैरह, सो उसको मुझे डोंट इरिटेट मी, मुझे पता नहीं. सो ही रिमूव्स दैट सेम पीस ऑफ पेपर and unfolds it. And he said the art budget was 3 crores for the entire film. He said, you have spent 3 crores 60 lakhs on one set. Tore the paper. He said, now go and make this film. So what was the eventual budget of the film?
45 is the figure I heard.
54.5 crores.
Ah, okay. So it's way over what? Okay. 54. And this is 2000 or 2001. I think 2001 is when it released.
Yeah.
Right?
2001. 54.5.
तो आज के 100 crore के
The
बराबर
way the film was sold is a different story, which I cannot say on.
Yeah.
But that taught me, because I was so close to Yash Johar, taught me how one thinks as a producer. We were about to sign with a very big studio. The deal fell through. He went and he said that to the person that he was very close to, and said that, listen, I have no money. I have spent so much money. I need it. That person said, no. I can give you only this much. Do you know what he does? He said, I'll distribute the film myself.
Oh, he did it.
Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham
The IP is
was
with
distributed at 17.5% refundable commission
My God.
with the distributor. He
That
came
film
to
still
me.
makes money in overseas, by the way.
It is
Still
there
making
are only,
money for
there are
Dharma.
3 films that are pillars of Dharma Productions. It stands on the pillars, on the shoulders of Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham, and Kal Ho Naa Ho. These are the 3 films, right? Refundable commission. He came to me and he told me, and he said, we were mixing the film at that time, and he said that पुराने ज़माने में जब हम लोग को पिक्चर बेचना था ना, हम लोग उनको 2 बहुत अच्छे सीन दिखाते और गाना दिखाते. क्या दिखा सकते हैं? I said, we can show them Shaba Shaba, we can show them You Are My Sonia, and we can show them the interval scene. He said, when can you show? So I said, I need about 10 days. He flew down every distributor from the whole world, put them up at Sun and Sand. Night he gave them, plied them with whiskey, and then next day he showed them this.
But this lesson, or these lessons, what happens when Nikkhil Advani sets up Emmay? Did that change you as a creator, as a filmmaker in any way?
No. That
So
never
it's
changes.
not that business ka pressure aa gaya,
Because
कि
what
भाई
happens
Emmay
is that everything that we have done from 2000 and from D-Day onwards to now today, I've just finished watching the preview of Veda, right? Which is John Abraham and Sharwari. I'm directing after 6 years a feature film. Whether it is a feature film, whether it is OTT, whether it is a limited series, whether it is 2-season series, whatever, our ambition, right, has always been more than the budget.
बैलेंस कहाँ आता है?
It balance वहाँ पे आता है कि मतलब चांस लेते हैं. That is what Yash Johar taught.
किसी को
That is
bankroll
what
करना
Karan
पड़ेगा.
has. That is what Adi has.
हाँ.
right? That is why the true producers, that as they, you can never, the budget that you are working with can never equal the ambition that you have in the story. Can never equal. Especially if you are there for the long haul in this industry. I don't like to use the word industry, but I'm using it because I feel we're talking about uh, producing. You can never be. Nobody, none. Even when you're making a small, even if you I know now. I talk to people who want to make short films now. We are, people are coming to us for short film, and I read that. I said, very good story. Kitna budget hai? They say we want 50. I want 50 lakhs. I said, but your story demands 1.5 crores. नहीं सर मैं 50 लाख में बनाऊँ, ऐसे नहीं बना सकते.
हो नहीं सकेगा.
हो ही नहीं सकते. हो ही नहीं सकते. There are some realities which most people don't realize that, you know, and so for us, it's very important when we are talking to studio and when we are talking to platform, when they turn us and this is what we feel, that this particular setup, story, actor, and date of release, etc.
This is what the costing.
This is what what your ROI is going to be. Your return of investment is going to be. And but my whole thing, but I need this much to make the film.
You do a cost plus?
I'm
production cost plus. You take IP, you keep portion of the IP.
No, I don't do anything. When you are working on OTT and all that, you are working.
It's all cost plus. But your own films, you must be having.
Yeah, I have IP on everything. So when you have to then say, how do you bridge this gap? And that is where you turn around and say, okay, how much of a risk are you willing to take? Because we have to risk everything. You cannot de-risk yourself. You will try your best to de-risk everywhere, whether it is D-Day, whether it is Empire, whether it is Rocket Boys, whether it is, we've been wherever we have, whatever people know us for today, we've always taken a risk.
But when because you mentioned platforms, and I had an MA question, but I'll come to you later. But जब आप Netflix और Amazon के लिए कुछ बना रहे हो, is it that you develop the show, you do spend on, like Applause does a lot of that, Sameer does that. He says that I develop the show, I take the punt and then I'll take it to you. Because otherwise you could end up dictating. How much of that is commissioned kind of thing? And when you make it for big screen, उसमें creatively or from a business perspective, are the calls different when you do it for platforms, when you do it for film? How does the hat that you wear creatively and as a producer or as the head of co-founder of Emmay, does that, what are the differences that arise there? So if you've done Rocket Boys, for example.
See, I'll tell you the advantage of, or rather the big Emmay story actually is that, they come to us here. I don't know how.
That's nice.
It's crazy, right?
No, it's not crazy.
Uday Shankar loved D-Day. He came to, Shaugato and Gaurav Banerjee met me and said that Uday loves D-Day. He wants to do something in that space. We just bought the rights to half of him. We want to do POW. I said, but and I know you'll say no to TV. I said, no, why will I say no to TV? I want to try it. I want to do something like that. And so when we started doing POW, I used to have an EP and she used to say that TV pe aisa hota nahi, TV pe aisa nahi, TV pe aisa. I printed out a banner. I said, don't tell me TV pe kya hota hai. I printed it out. No one should tell me कि TV पे क्या होता है. And I put it up on the studio. This thing, before you enter, you would see that no one should tell me TV पे क्या होता है. And Uday called me up and told me that I thought that like everybody that comes to work with us on TV, they say that we'll do everything. Then they do 4 episodes and run away. I did 106 episodes. Right, okay. I shot 187 days non-stop. Every single day I was there. I shot. When we shot for Rocket, so my point is that I don't. We develop. The first check that Emmay cut was to a writer. Was to Ritesh Shah and was to Anuja Chauhan. We didn't pay anybody else. We paid the writers. Manisha and myself and Madhu put in our money, 5 lakh rupees, and we paid the writer as an advance. So we have a robust development team. Out of the 40, 45, 50 people that work inside this office, which are on roles, right? 10 are in development.
Okay, but big screen, small screen का creative commercial कुछ difference आता है when you
See, when a small screen, when you're talking
Is
about,
it easier? Is it more
well,
profitable to do
it is more
OTT?
is it more
It's
easier to
cost
do?
plus
No, it's
kind of
not.
thing.
It's the complexities of a day at shoot is the same. Is the same. You will reach over there. The person will say actor had to come at 10 o'clock, is now going to come at 10:30.
अभी भी होता है.
Yeah, traffic.
Okay, I thought this was ego and not
No,
coming.
there's no
time.
ego. There's no ego. Yeah, what is the ego, right?
Huh.
I find it bizarre when somebody says, "Ki, he's so professional. He comes on time." What?
How is that possible?
Getting paid. He has to come, and there's no professionalism in that. So I don't understand this thing, right? I wake up at 5:30 in the morning every single day. I've done it for the time that I started working in this industry for the last 32 years, and I'm there. I'm the first person on set. They have to throw me out of the set because I want to sit over there and say कि कल का क्या होगा, ऐसा करेंगे, इसको ये करेंगे, उसको वो करेंगे. And on the set, because I don't want to ever stop directing. So the first thing I think we invested in was a van. I have a van which is like my house, where I have a study and I have a kitchen and because I do my meetings there.
There. Okay.
I'm doing all this. So we have a development team, and there's the complex. It is.
Risk reward. If
You have a cushion.
Huh.
When you're doing platform, when you're working on a platform, when you're working on when you're working with a great team from the platform, because now the platforms have on the other side of the table are people who you basically respect the feedback, right? So you have a cushion, slight cushion, which is that you feel that the failure or the non-performance can be attributed to the fact that boss, we were in it together. When you are doing a feature film and you're doing films, you're by yourself, right? It is literally somebody's walking, or the 400 people are following you to the edge of that cliff, and when you're telling them jump, trust me, you're going to land. They're jumping with you. So that gets somewhat mitigated, and that gets a little softened when you're working on platform, when you're working on long form, right? It becomes a little easier. It gets a little divided. But otherwise, it's the same insecurity.
Is it fair to say films are riskier than doing streaming?
100%.
Even financially?
Yes.
What you will get. But यहाँ आपको पता है कि cost plus or whatever it is, at least you get paid for your cost of production and a little over that. But this success is not measurable on streaming. I find it, I was at lunch with a Netflix.
Well, it is measurable. It's not possible.
Views,
it's not possible. It's not measurable, right? It's just that it's a big secret, right? Because
that's what I mean. There's no third party metrics.
Which
nothing
honestly,
which tells you.
Which honestly, given the obsession that today the ticket goer or the audience has with the numbers, I'm so happy that they don't know what is actually considered good or bad on OTT, right? Because that will really, at the end of the day, put an end to where there is at least now some form of, say, there's a kind of euphoria to I can do good work on OTT, right? Which will get completely when the audiences who say अरे ये तो 100 करोड़ वाली पिक्चर है, तुमको पता भी नहीं है कि 100 करोड़ वाली पिक्चर क्या होती है, right? I mean, people दिल चाहता है. Is it दिल चाहता है? Is it a box office success?
Of course it is.
No.
Urban. It was an urban success. I remember this.
Kal Ho Naa Ho. Right? When the CI distributor called up Yash ji to say कि कोई नहीं आ रहा है, he said please print वापस भेज दो. It was not meant for you. It is a urban and it is a overseas wali picture, or by people like you calling me up, you spread the word कि picture चल नहीं रही. It is not meant for you. मुझे वापस, मैं आपको 28 लाख रुपया वापस भेज रहा हूँ.
Viva. I don't know if you remember Viva.
Of course I remember.
Everybody said flop. I said, have you seen the numbers? It is going gangbusters in small town India.
With us. We made Satyamev Jayate, right? The company was in the doldrums. Milap came with the subject. He called me up to tell me I was doing the panorama. I was on the panel and I was in NCP. I was watching some really erudite, cinema.
Erudite cinema. That's a nice word, huh?
And Milap calls me and says that मैं जा रहा हूँ John Abraham को मिलने के लिए. I've chased his car to the signal and I told him, hi John, मेरे पास एक subject है, तो he has called me, मैं जा रहा हूँ मिलने के लिए, can I tell him you're producing? I said, don't tell him. because we are doing so badly, he might not
Want to do
want
it.
to do it with us. Please, and he's got his own company. Don't tell him. The idiot told him that he's doing it. Now I am going to meet John, and I told him, at least tell me what the subject is. मुझे तो बता. I didn't know. I met John. John did not know. I had not heard the script. Nothing there. We've got it. Satyamev Jayate. When the film was released, I said, what is this? It's not done now for my aesthetic.
Yeah, it's not. I was about to say it's not like.
But then the B and C center
it's done well.
just went insane. On 15th August, your 21 crores this one film is making. It's incredible, right? So what are these people who, when they were on I read about these comments once in a while, or my PR guys will come and say, sir, ये picture वो लोग बोल रहे हैं कि 100 crore वाली picture 200 crore, उनको कैसे पता?
No, but you know what? I've started doing this in the paper I write for. I put a lexicon. This means box office means this, net means this, gross means this. Revenue इतना होता है. Revenue में से costs निकालने के बाद is what of that portions go to various people. That's how a picture makes money. But people think if Jawan has done 1100 crore, all the 1100 crore is coming to Red Chillies. That's not how it works.
Absolutely.
But Nikkhil, tell me one thing. You mentioned Satyamev Jayate and all. Where is Emmay right now? You know, I'm particularly interested in that because it's now been 13 years. So where is it? How is it situated? What does it have? What is it missing?
I think where it's situated is that we are as the co-founders of MA are very, very cognizant and very, very clear that the MA cannot be known only as a Nikkhil Advani company.
Yeah.
Right? Abhay has done Rocket Boys.
Phenomenal show.
Right?
We loved it.
And Abhay has done Rocket Boys. Ashim has done Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway. Mitakshara did Empire. Now she's doing Heeramandi. Gaurav has worked with me for 15 years. He did Kaun Banega Shikarpati before he did Baza. Now he's done Adhura for Amazon. Ananya is new, who worked with him. Now she's doing her own stuff. So where is MA right now is like we are very, very driven by making sure that the next level of directors really take off, right? And they start their own so-called silos and verticals, and they start producing themselves
within MA. Okay.
Within MA, right? Okay. MA is very is being wooed.
From what?
For
acquisition or by
putting money into us, and we want to do this, and you give us some of your shares.
Is it a profitable, happy company?
We are always We are always in the black.
You're always in the
black.
We
are always in the
black. So would you look at raising money? Would you want to raise
money?
Money?
You know, it
comes with conditions.
It comes with conditions which I'm not very, which I'm getting used to, so to say.
Which means you're talking to someone.
Lots of people are talking. Lots of people are talking to us. Yeah.
No, but how would it? Is it like a small production company? Are you aiming to become a bit of a studio by yourself?
I think we are already a studio by ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. We are very much a studio by ourselves in that sense that when I say this, so yeah, are we distributing? Are we putting our own money in? I think that our compliance is the best compliance in the industry. You don't have to. I mean, you can ask people within the industry. You can ask people. So what Manisha and Madhu have brought in is the whole corporate environment that they actually nurtured at MAHR, and they brought that in, and our compliance and our auditing and our everything is next level. But we will never ever we put our personal money into development, right? And we make sure that the project is picked up before we get into production.
So you do the development and put the whole project together.
But that is something that we are now looking at changing also.
By putting your own money into the production also.
If we raise capital, then that will become then we get into distribution, then we get into.
How far are you from it? 6 months, 1 year?
How far am I from?
From raising capital?
I don't know.
Okay, fine.
Those are questions that you have to ask Manisha and Madhu.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true.
I'm the reason I started MA is because I wanted to be protected from those questions, and I'm not very comfortable with those questions. My whole thing is कि मेरा EMI pay हो रहा है, मेरा गाड़ी का ये pay हो रहा है, I'm good.
I don't believe you have EMIs.
whatever.
Okay. Uh, to your mind, what are the big challenges this business faces? We've had a good 23. It was a good year for us. Going and pandemic का थोड़ा सा मिट गया है सब कुछ. But what are the, if I was to ask you 2-3 big challenges?
The Hindi film industry.
No, Indian film industry.
I think that you can't first of all generalize and say the Indian film industry.
Okay.
If there is, everybody talks about this north and south divide and all that kind of, which is quite a lot of hype, but there is also a lot of, how do I put it, truth in it. The south guys are very professional, highly professionalized, and they're like this. They're unified. Their unity is next level. When it comes to just the PR, when it comes to the decisions, when it comes to conversations, when it comes to how they discuss, they talk to actors. Very, as a producer are very.
When you say South, you mean Telugu and Tamil? Or
Telugu and Tamil.
Only Telugu.
Yeah, Telugu
I won't include Malayalam and
no,
Kannada.
not Malayalam. Malayalam still is a little indie.
Yeah, it's
and
very
and
indie
very
in character.
And yeah, and very suspicious of everybody else outside, right? Coming in and corrupting the way they function. They like to function the way they function. The Hindi film industry has no unity.
It's one of my questions actually. It's one of the big reasons that the
We will
industry.
never be able to do anything.
Why? And why does the Indian film industry not come together to lobby for things, to get things changed? Even when entertainment tax was crazy levels, I still remember having this discussion.
Yeah, and
Kabhi baat hi
and being a kid and seeing what people like Yash Chopra and Yash Johar and all used to do, and how they were. I mean, you hear stories of how from Yash Johar when he was a production manager, how when he worked with Nav Ketan and what RK and Nav Ketan and B.R. Chopra and Ramesh Sippy films and Manmohan Desai, how they used to work. We don't have that. We are busy competing with each other. We're just competing. We don't celebrate each other. We don't. It's I think that's the first thing. That the first thing we have to do is come together and just basically say that we are one. Yeah. We are together.
Are you talking about professional generosity, or are you talking about co-opting together as a one part of an industry? And
no, co-opting together is one part of the industry. We don't agree on anything. We had this whole thing that we'll not do media net, and marketing will be capped, and this will be capped. They go and break it. Somebody goes and breaks it. Somebody says, I have to.
विंडोज पे भी agreement नहीं है ना कि रिलीज के बाद कितने दिन में OTT
कुछ भी नहीं है यार. हमारा VPN पे agreement नहीं है, हमारा विंडोज पे agreement नहीं है, हमारा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन मॉडल पे agreement नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. Everybody is each one for his own. I mean, each one for themselves. Everybody. When Chopra will try and do something, he will try and be some kind of rebel. Everybody will say wow, but then they'll not, then they're pagal hai.
You mentioned in some interview that a lot of the business is top heavy. Money doesn't always percolate down the system. What will make that happen?
When the directors and the producers start believing that a film cannot be made without them, they have to start believing that the film they can't. I mean, there was a time when you didn't need anything. You just needed Mr. Bachchan's dates. It's become like that all again.
Really?
Yeah.
After everything?
Yeah. What are we doing? What are we making? We're not making anything. In 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I felt little that there was. At least, again, there was something that quality was being made and we were getting over there. After that, it's become.
But this is strange, I see the same people making world-class stuff for streaming platforms.
Yeah.
So why don't we see that on the big screen also? I think some
because
films
those guys who are making the world-class stuff on streaming platforms are not interested in making stuff for features.
I think the economics of the big screen have got tougher and tougher.
Way tougher. It's way tougher, right? In the sense, the pressure of somebody tells me that why are you not trying to do a universe, spy universe or whatever the raw universe? Now some raw universes also. I want to sleep well at night. I don't want the burden of a 300 crore, 400 crore recovery.
Franchise.
I don't want that. It's ridiculous, right? It's absolutely ridiculous. I bet it took me 4 years to write Veda because I really had read about two incidents that had happened. It was horrific. And I said, how do I make this? And yeah, okay. And when I made Batla House, I think it made well. It did well. I think it did 80-90 crore this thing. And everybody was happy. But I said that, I would have liked more people to have seen that film. So I like if in the case of Veda, I have to quote unquote massify it or commercialize it slightly more so that people can see the story of this girl. I'll do it, and I think that's what the South guys do.
They control budgets very well, I think.
And
we don't control
pick up,
budgets
but
in
they
Hindi.
pick up the at the core, at the heart of everything else. There is a very, very emotional this thing that they have, right? Whether it is Kantara, whether it is Pushpa, whether it is RR, one girl is being beaten up, and this British is there, and then they'll do everything else around it, right? And they control budgets. They don't control budgets actually. They have the equipment that we get for one day. They have for 200 days of shooting, right? They have the equipment for that 200 days of shooting, right? They shoot like aram se they shoot, right? Also, their audiences are just something else, right? The audiences in Telugu and Tamil cinema is just incredible, right?
And Telugu also, the producers control the single screens.
Everything, right?
They control the screen. So that Telugu is a totally different model in terms of, so I find it a little unfair to compare.
Totally.
Hindi is very competitive.
No,
Telugu is not so competitive. These guys control the exhibitions.
Absolutely, right?
They control the release.
Totally. No. So that's what I think so where to come back where is Emmay wants to go to the next level, and is looking at going to the next level, and right now Monisha and Madhu have a vision to take it to the next level, and part of that vision is that let Nikhil make whatever he wants to make, and let him whether he wants to do Freedom at Midnight or whether he wants to do Veda or whether he wants to do whatever, let him do that, and we will build the rest of the guys which they are doing.
Fantastic. There is this whole talk about the pan-Indian film, or what I call the domestic crossover, which is, films which are designed for a larger release than the language of origin. And you see at least 24 of them were there in 2023. Maybe 6 or 8 of them did very well. And they have expanded the market both ways.
Yeah.
Hindi in the South is not as much as South films doing better in
Absolutely.
Hindi. Yeah. So what is your sense of this? Is it a genuine trend which will help expand, get more tickets to be sold for Indian film? So, our cinemas are talking to audiences, to their national audience. So, tomorrow, Bengali film, Marathi Baipan Bhari Deva, superb business. But that great business was only Maharashtra. But, can these films then cross over more with domestically and therefore expand the market for each of the cinemas that we have?
I think
Do you
so.
see that?
I think so for sure. I think so, and I think that it should be encouraged to do that. I mean, today isn't Rakesh Mehra making Karan with Surya?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's incredible.
Is it something Emmay is considering?
Yeah. We constantly are considering it. I mean,
Yeah.
Surya and I started talking to each other 3 years ago and 4 years ago for a film. I have been trying to get something to excite Allu Arjun for the longest of time. I think that I think this whole notion of these borders have become very porous now, right? In the sense, it's no longer about कि ये तो Telugu picture है, ये तो Tamil picture
Because one thing drops in 200 countries simultaneously, फिर क्या border?
which is the case of OTT also, right? In this case, OTT, you have 286 countries. Amazon and Netflix drop in 196 countries or something like that. So I think that you will see more and more stuff that, and I think that what pandemic and lockdown did is that it forced people in Meerut and Bareilly and Indore and all to watch cinema that normally they would just completely disown. हमको नहीं देखना है यार, ये तेलुगु वाले को हमको देखना नहीं है, हमको
Meenal Murli, I remember Meenal Murli did so well on Netflix.
Right. So I'm saying that they were forced to, sitting at home. They had finished watching everything that had to be watched in the language that they were comfortable with, and they were suddenly watching something else, and they say, hey, it's not that bad, man. It's quite funny and it's quite good. Yeah, okay. It's a little weird that we are, but honestly speaking, when you're watching, most of the people, if you ask Denzel today and all about the Warner films as well. You ask Disney. Everybody's watching Marvel. They're not watching Marvel in English only, right? They're
They're
watching
watching in
Marvel in the
Bhojpuri
dubbed
and
version,
whatever.
right? Basically, Mr. Sharad Kelkar is this thing, and now suddenly Ranveer Singh is dubbing for Iron Man, and Varun Dhawan is dubbing for Miss Captain America and all that. But why would they be doing that? Why would a normal distribution model that doesn't need that use this Bollywood star who they have to pay a fat sum for to dub? Because at the end of the day, there is money coming in.
You know, you have been part of films which have done very well outside of India. Some films which have really done. I mean, Kuch Kuch, Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham, of course, is an all-time.
Is all time.
How do you see it now? I mean, this whole thing of Indian films doing well. You know, I remember doing a study where for 10 years, Shah Rukh was the biggest contributor. 50%
Isn't he still the biggest contributor?
I did that analysis only for 10 years for some research paper I had done. 50% of all our, more than 50% came from Shah Rukh films.
Yeah.
But now has that changed? Has OTT changed the what is expected
It's not
from
only
Indian?
OTT, yeah. It's not only OTT.
Is
It's not
Indian
only
cinema
OTT.
still
In
the
the sense,
force?
The it's social. I think it's really, really societal also. In the sense that if you look at, I'm not talking about Bombay. I'm not talking about Mumbai. I'm not talking about the kids who go to Cathedral and my daughter goes to Ascent International. And I'm not talking about guys who went to the Ed Sheeran concert over the weekend. I have been shooting in places like Khejarla, which is outside Jodhpur. I shoot in Patiala so much. I shoot in the sense, the amount of exposure that the audience in India has to the West. I don't think that the Indian diaspora has.
To content from other places.
They don't watch that. They are only watching.
They are in the ghetto. They are
Yeah,
watching
absolutely.
only.
Right. So when what they want to watch is the mythos. And they want to watch, they want their children to be, they still want their children to go to Bhagavad Gita classes. So when they suddenly see a Indian film with a big Indian actor actually challenging that, they reject it.
Okay.
They reject it.
No, but has it crossed beyond diaspora now thanks to streaming? Do you think there is?
No,
No,
not at
Really?
all. Not at all.
Because, you know, Family Man is doing well, or let's say Sacred Games is doing very well.
Yeah, OTT
Does that
of course
say
is-
anything?
But is it doing Squid Game numbers?
No, it's not.
It's
not.
not. Why are we not doing Squid Game numbers? Why are we not doing Squid Game numbers?
Or
We're not doing
Manifest
Squid
or
Game
whatever,
numbers.
huh?
So obviously the people who are watching Family Man and all that are there. Of course, it's there. Why is not? It's there on your platform. It's there on your this thing. So it's service and it's there on your shelf. So you'll watch it. It'll pop up because of your algorithm or whatever. But it's not. I think what will break everything is Heeramandi
Really? Globally?
globally.
Wow, I hope so.
No, because
Because it has this costume thingy.
It's a costume thingy which basically पद्मावत का सैन फ्रांसिस्को में सब लोग घूमर कर रहे थे, but Indian diaspora घूमर कर रहे थे, right? Now the West will watch because what is it that we have, right? We have snake charmers and elephants, right? Unfortunately, we have snake charmers. We have been the country of snake charmers and elephants or
I think
whatever.
we moved beyond that, yeah.
We have moved on, but गोरे लोग को वही चाहिए अभी भी. They still coming for the exotica.
They saw RRR, which is also exotica.
Exotica only, बाबा
packaged है.
exotica ही था. ऐसा नहीं है कि exotica नहीं है, right? Exotica. They didn't say Ega, right?
They did?
They've not seen Ega.
Uh,
Rajamouli Ega they've not
yeah,
seen.
True.
Now that's a film.
Or Katal. Or
Yeah, now those are films. वो देखा नहीं है, right? And when they watch it, they, whoa, how did that person think about this from India? You know, and how did it's it's so unique and so rare and it's such a edgy this thing and what the fly taking revenge.
But I would still point out to a Dangal or a Three Idiots.
Yes, and a Lagan. It falls in that
Lagan.
falls into the
Yes.
Lagan,
They
Dangal.
crossed over sheer story.
Yeah, absolutely,
That's it.
absolutely. But
still.
I am saying कि I am looking forward to seeing Mr. Bansali in his Jamewar sitting at the Golden Globes and the Emmy next year. I think what Monica and company did with RRR on Netflix,
They can do it with Heeramandi.
They will do with Hero.
Chalo, that's a great note to end on. Thank you so much, Nikkhil. I enjoyed this conversation thoroughly.
Thank you.
And there are still some questions, but I'm getting signals from the FC gang. So we'll wrap up for now. Thank you so much.